So, hello everyone. This is Otessa, and you are listening to Conversations with Hysterical Women. That's Women with an X, the Hysterical Women podcast, where you are all welcome here, friends, allies, everywhere across the rainbow, across the binary. I'm just really glad to have you be here. And this is meant to be a safe space to explore all of the weird things that life throws at us and all of the different ways in which we can be twisted and torn asunder, but also all the different ways that we can come back together. So, thank you for listening, and I'm glad that you're here. And it's going to be cheesy, but comment, like, subscribe.
Well, I guess I'll echo some of your points. I'm a huge fan of sci-fi. Sadly, not as much books as movies and TV shows or series. I too have not read Lovecraft Country. But yeah, I mean, anytime I see a new sci-fi show, especially one that has big names attached to it, such as this, it definitely makes me curious. But I'm also a huge fan of race relations, and it's funny, this James Baldwin monologue in it. It's very, very interesting. So a little bit about my background. I'm actually half Sudanese on my father's side, and my mother is American, white American from Providence, Rhode Island. So I'm mixed race, but I actually grew up outside the U.S. most of my life. I came back a few times. I had a very different experience. I would consider myself an American. I went to American schools abroad. I, was involved with the American and international communities abroad. I was always deemed an American, whether it was Malta or Kenya, two of the countries that I lived in. But being a foreigner in a developing country, being a foreigner abroad, automatically, especially from a prosperous nation, it gives you certain advantages. So I could watch movies and TV shows about the African American experience, but it was nothing similar to what I was experiencing. I have experienced racism in my life, but never from, at least in my teen years or whatever. I've never experienced issues with police officers or people thinking one way of me, at least that I know of.
What about when you're on an airplane?
Pardon me?
Any troubles on airplanes?
Yeah, it used to be. Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I was born in Saudi Arabia, and all this information is on my passport when I travel. So whether I'm traveling through Egypt or through New York, I always get
randomly selected.
Yeah. Or I don't. It's not even random at this point. Now they just
Yeah.
Passport, and they just tell me to. It's not as bad anymore. It's been much better in the last few years.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, this show is right up my alley in that regards, and it's the same reason why I like Jordan Peele so much. Honestly, Jordan Peele as a comedian, I think he was a pretty funny comedian, not my favorite, but kind of in this new genre that, as you said, he created, he's doing great things.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and I should also clarify about when I described my upbringing, that my mother had immigrated to Iran and was in the process of her nationalization, but she mixed, etc.
Oh, okay.
If that was confusing, I had a mom.
Oh, cool. Okay,
yeah.
So you understand.
Yes. And I realized that sometimes that can get confused because it's wait. So you said your parents were both living in Iran and coming over.
Right.
And I was no, I had a white mom, but she was she was having her citizenship changed, and then so I'm mixed, halvesies.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I mean, even that, I mean, in itself, we're growing up abroad, just the concept of race was much, much different, right? People who are mixed race, they're not one or the other. They are both or something different, but not better or worse. Well, in some situations, it might be a little better of a situation if you're half white. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's super confusing. And so I think that for me, obviously, yes, prejudice exists. Bad things have happened. But the one thing that I know to my core is that what I've experienced is nothing like being Black in America.
Right.
Just hands down. The fact that this even needs to be said or discussed or fought is bizarre. It's because that's how racist our country, America, has a history that is just that racist.
Right.
And so I think that's what really bothered me with I only watch positive things. And I'm like, well, if you're only looking at positive things, then how are you going to affect positive change?
Right.
And how are you going to learn? Like, that also means revisionist history and alternative facts.
Right.
Because then if you're unwilling to learn about terrible things that have been, what does that make you, like, now a Holocaust denier? Like, there were just this whole thinking, I was like, it was just so problematic, and it really messed with my head. And so that's, so when this show came out, I was like, okay, I'm in, I'm all about it. And in a weird way, I was like processing this very strange, like, racialized conversation that had happened. But I'm also like, it's HBO, it's Misha Green, it's Jordan Peele. Like, the actress who plays Letitia Lewis is just fantastic.
Right.
Anyway, so I was like, I'm so on board. And then we start, and it's like this very, like, quote unquote golden age of science fiction, like Princess from Mars.
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah. And I was just like, dude, this is so all out. I love it, like, right from the start.
That's right.
Like, it takes
into the max.
Yeah, like, so much nerve to do something like that.
Yeah.